to tweak until the end. The typography in various different sections, and actually bigger things like the slightly skewed layout of these thumbnails here, and even the titling that went on here. This is when I was designing. I kind of in Photoshop I was thinking that the thumbnails would maybe speak for themselves. When I actually came to build the site, it turned out that really they needed some kind of titles. And of course, when you come to the browser, there are certain things that you may not have designed in Photoshop. For instance, the hover states. So here, not only do we have this kind of the new edition of the titles, we have the hover states, whereas they turn black and the image frame inverts. There's some transparency going on there with some CSS3 RGBA color stuff. There's also some very subtle box shadow going on there, giving a little bit of a glow on hover. Now, all of these decisions were made when I came to actually building the site with HTML, CSS, and not when I was doing it in Photoshop. And I've said before that I think when it comes to typography specifically, there are a lot of decisions you can make only really once you come to the browser, because the way that the browser renders text is actually going to be significantly different really from the way that Photoshop renders text. So that's some of the reasons why I've done that. But anyway, let me talk you through how I went from Photoshop to actually starting the build. This is essentially the wireframe, which stayed pretty much the same through to the finished thing. As you can see, it's relatively simple. Then of course there are the textures and stuff like that I added, but apart from that there's not a whole lot of extra elements going on there. So let's jump over to TextMate, and I'm going to show you gradually how I built up some of the HTML CSS code so that you get to see what's finally on the site. Let's start off with the featured projects that appear at the top of the page, this list of 4 items. This is essentially how the HTML looks. I've made my text nice and big here in TextMate for you, so hopefully you should be able to see that. So we start off with an unordered list which has a class name of featured projects, and then within each list item we have essentially a link which links through to the permalink of the project. We have the title, just so